All right, let's do this. Welcome one, welcome all to the one, the only. That is not the right intro. Welcome to The Chronic Atheist, the podcast where a manic, depressive, non-binary atheist talks about life, the universe, everything, and periodically forgets which of their multiple, not technically defunct projects they're doing an intro to. Okay, so content warnings galore on this one, and as always, this podcast contains no professional information and should not be presumed to contain anything other than the opinions and reflections of your hostest with the mostest, which is me, at Junk Shock Library on YouTube and Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and likely several other things I've forgotten about, which lie dormant and fallow. All right, well, let's see. I said the word non-binary, I said the word atheist, and I fucked up my intro. So I've likely scared off anybody I'm going to scare off. Yes? All right. Well, for those of you who remain, welcome, probably again, brethren, sistren, otheren, blessings and moon pies, greetings and salutations. It is, I may be about to bump the mic, so bear with any weird sound effect. 1 second. Ah, yes. Okay. It is Monday, March 27th. In the year of no Lord 2023. And as the maid said of Ms. Poppins' rampaging horde of chimney sweeps, they're at it again. And as the horde replied, step in time. Pause for not coffee. Okay. I mentioned right off the cuff there were content warnings galore for this one. Yes, I hope I used the word galore. I'm going to talk about a subject near and traumatic to many of our hearts right now that does not impact physical, chronic illness. Because I live in America and we long gone since through a not at all arbitrary line between that which happens in your brain and that which happens in your body. Dr. Kellogg is probably at some level to blame. It's like that internet thing. You know, if you wonder why it got bad or it got worse or what have you, you can probably start with the assumption Ronald Reagan and move on from there. Y'all are smart people. You can fill in the motherfucking blanks. But because chronic illness affects the, I shudder to say, holistic human experience, I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. That's all right. Y'all are still hanging in there. You'll forgive me. I hope. So, here's the thing. Some of you are listening from outside the bounds of these grand and glorious great United States. And so you know as well, because you found this random podcast squirreled away in some strange corner of the internet. So of course you know. We have a slight problem in the United States of America with this thing that some other countries also experience with entirely more frequency and regularity than a more generous God would have allowed. We have we have here in the States a problem with we're 7 minutes in already, with shootings. And we had one today. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know. Nashville, Tennessee. The details are trickling out and worse every minute. I tripped over a statistic a little earlier this evening online that I, quite frankly, do not have the heart to research to find out if it is correct, but the sheer fact that I believed it, I normally put a little more thought into these episodes. I know I improvise them. I do them in one take. That's the shtick. It has been since in the beginning on Improv Bible Study. But I do normally give a little bit of thought before I launch in. This is an I had to talk about it sort of podcast episode, and that's not everyone's cup of tea. Most of the time, it's not mine. I don't think I would still be listening to somebody else's podcast at this point. So it is what it is. We live in this strange and beautiful and terrifying universe where anyone with a computer or a microphone or a cell phone or probably any number of other things that I don't even know exist can just cannonade their thoughts off into the interstellar ether for folks from other states. other countries, other planets, other civilizations in a million years' time to trip over and be intrigued or horrified by. It's a thing of beauty in that sort of, gosh, you made a 30-foot amber statue of a maggot sort of way. All of which is to say, I am stalling. That is what I am doing. I am stalling because I don't want to confront today. Fuck me running. We're 11 minutes in. Okay. Anyone still listening likely already knows, but in the event that you don't, welcome and thank you. Old Junk Shop, your faithful narrator, is, for the sake of simplicity and not condensation, that's moisture vapor. Conciseness? An AMAB, assigned male at birth, non-binary person. And I live, that's for information only, it's not important or germane to this particular story, even despite the fact that what we're talking about today happened in Tennessee. If you don't know what that might have attached to it from a psychological baggage perspective, just Google Tennessee legislature trans or Tennessee legislature gender, or I don't know, check out Marsha fucking Blackburn's Facebook feed. Facebook feed? Is that what that's called? Twitter? I don't know. I don't care. Stalling. I'm doing it again. Okay. So this morning we had a school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. The statistic I mentioned beforehand and then my brain diverted me away from is that the numbers are something like we're 84 or 86 days or something like that into calendar 2023, and this is our 89th mass shooting in the United States of America. No, you heard me right. I mean, rewind it if you're unsure, but I don't think I can repeat it. I'm sure I will angrily later on once I really get going, but so here's the thing. I don't usually talk about this, and oh dear, if I have talked about it before on one of these sorts of platforms, I do not remember under what circumstance. So this might be new. And I've got to be careful here because I'm trying real fucking hard not to give away more personal information than I already have. Y'all know how it is. But Before school shootings were a just sort of fact of life that local news would largely gloss over in favor of a big splashy cover story over the price of red dye number 40 in Albuquerque. I lived in a place very close to one of the early ones that made national news. I'm not comfortable saying more than that. I lived in a place very close to one of the ones that early on in the phenomenon made the national news. I did not know anyone personally who died, but I knew people who knew the people who died. I knew people who were... I knew a person who was injured badly. That was 20 years ago. I've still got the notebook that I wrote a lot in that week, that day. It never occurred to me in my teens that this would be a fact of life for 20 years for people in my peer group, for the next cohort down, for the children of people in my peer group. Worse. I don't know what it will take. I'm not convinced there is a what it will take at this point. If you follow the news, if you have tripped over a tabloid in the gutter outside a burned out KFC at 3 a.m, if you are at all aware of anything approximating current events, you know that this happens. People, sometimes children, sometimes, as seems to have been the case today, grown-ass adults, doing much murder very fast. And all too often, doing that murder against children and bystanders, teachers, and Some of you probably remember, hopefully all of you remember, and hopefully not all of you do with the vividness I do. I know how that sounds. I do. I'm sorry. But some of you likely remember just a couple of years ago that horrible mass shooting that happened in a New Zealand mosque in Christchurch. Now, call me a hypocrite if you will, and we'll discuss. But I think people ought to be able to gather in comfort and peace and solidarity and just chill for a couple of hours, whether or not I agree with the ideology that brought them there, without the risk of them being mass shooting murdered and have their deaths live streamed on the internet. Call me old-fashioned. I saw some of it. Because a bunch of fucking edgelords decided it was a good idea to be re-streaming everywhere the camera feed that technically human person decided to link to the internet while he was doing his multiple murder. And I saw it. By mistake. There I was, cavorting around on Twitter, minding my own damn business, looking at cat pictures and who wore what to the Oscars and how and yep, that's a couple of brain cells that will just be on at one level a constant loop of replay hell forever in the back of my brain. I don't know. I really don't know. What is it going to take? What will it take before anyone makes an attempt to implement, does any research, starts any kind of movement before anything changes? Because it happens. It happens all the time. And I'm tired. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid for myself. I'm afraid for my friends. I'm afraid for the children of my friends. I am afraid for people whose biggest worry in this world should be that they bobbled over and fall down and got a slight rug burn on the side of their knee on the carpet because they're learning to walk and got theyselves a boo-boo. But no. Nope. Because I live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we're legislating entire swaths of the population out of existence, and where guns are more important than children. I am so sad. And I am so angry. I am so fucking mad I can't hardly see straight. I am so fucking furious. I could gulp down nails and piss out Constantine wire. I have had it. And there's not one fucking thing I can do. I can mean tweet Marsha Blackburn all day. It won't change anything. I can vote against Bill Lee for the rest of my life. It won't change anything. I can march in protests. I can post rants and screeds online. I can the gut punch knowledge that there is not one single solitary goddamned thing I can do. Just sits there. Sits on the pallid bust of Pallas above my chamber door. It just sits. What the hell am I going to do? The hell are any of us going to do? That's the terrifying thing. Like, if it were just myself that couldn't do any change, but there were people who A, could, and B, would make a change. That would be one thing. But you know, it's like that old self-love affirmation, you know, them that matter don't care, and them that care don't matter, something like that. Yes, all's, all well and good at a sort of, Instagram charmy heart level. But this is the fucking Freddy Krueger fever dream nightmare reality that we're in, where it's literally the other way around. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired of living in this fucking dystopia. Where some fucking person with an assault rifle can just rock up to any given place they want, end the existence of as many people as they can, and then a bunch of fucking bureaucrats go apeshit on Twitter for 18 hours talking about how they were a bad person, and if they just had Jesus and community support and a strong father figure, this would never have happened. And everybody who's not going on about that gets into fucking pissing matches, storming down from their soapbox, reminding us all that their big brain knows that the AR in AR-15 stands for Armalite, which is a brand name, and not assault rifle, which is a category. Nobody cares. Why? Yes, I know why. Money. But how long are we going to have to do this? How many... I don't know. Stay safe, please.